Welcome to Stryker Web TV and Blog Talk Radio, sponsored by DinarCorp.com, who has been selling the new Iraqi Dinar since 2003, and DinarDetectives.com for the latest news, rumors, and articles from around the net. Now, this is Stryker Web TV and Blog Talk Radio, the only live internet broadcast of Dinar-related Iraqi news. The facts start here. Without further introductions, here's Stryker.
Boy, I sure miss you, Pastor Doug, if you're watching. I sure miss you. Trying to get all this silly stuff. I forgot I did it for such a long time, for months by myself. I got spoiled with having that Pastor Doug here. Welcome, folks. Thank you for joining us, joining me today, this Saturday, June the 22nd. I don't know if I need those or not. Yes, I do. Bear with me a minute. I got to get my laptop going here. I've got my notes in it. I've been testing everything to make sure everything was working properly, and I forgot to turn the sound up. I had to turn it down. So the very first of that intro was a little light, wasn't it? Let me check my sound again. Yep, I don't look like I'm doing good here. Okay, I put the password in wrong because I know I had the caps on. I've had a problem with caps today because I've been commenting and breaking down a lot of articles this morning. As Gamma Ray would bring them in, I was breaking them down. What you're looking at is a picture of Parliament, folks. Saturday, this is Saturday the 22nd of June, and it is 12 noon Central Standard Time in Texas, and it's 8 p.m. in Iraq, also the 22nd. So their day is winding down. They'll get into their next day 8 hours before we get into our next day. We'll be sleeping, they'll be starting. So that's why we'll be up early in the morning to figure out if Parliament is, in fact, going to be meeting. You can bet that Gamma Ray will beat me up in the morning when it comes to that. He might beat me up too. He's not too far from me. He might get mad at me and come beat me up. Anyway, folks, the title of the show today is What's Parliament? What's Parliament? Whoops, where'd my icon go? There we go. What's Parliament schedule and what's needed from them in the parties? And I'm just going to get it right after it. First off, let's take a look at Parliament's regular schedule to understand what's going on in these few of these articles today. House of Representatives sessions of the annual two legislative runs for 8 months out of a year. So every single year, Parliament is supposed to have their sessions 8 out of the 12 months. Starting first is the first legislation session of the year. Starts March 1st and ends in on June 30th of each year. And we'll get to that in a second. I know what you're thinking, but it's supposed to start March 1st and ends June 30th of each year. And the second starts September 1st and ends on December 31st of each year. Secondly, no end of the legislation term in which it offered to the state budget only after approval. What that means, once they commit to reviewing and reading the state budgets, or the country's budgets, Iraq's budget, they call it state budget, they can't take any breaks. They have to continue it until they get it done. So what we saw last year in 2012, and this will explain a lot, last year, October, around the 12th or 13th, they started reading the 2013 budget. And we were all excited, including myself, because we were still trying to figure out what these articles were, and did they really mean the articles we started reading back in July of 2012? Did they really mean that we were going to see currency reform starting the first of the year, or the first of the physical budget when it was approved? Is it going to be the fiscal year or the fiscal budget approval? So we were still anticipating that January 1st would be our day. Well, especially when things like starting the budget readings early because they said they were going to get it done before the end of the year was out, which would have been historical in itself. They never got a budget passed until March of that budget year's March. So meaning they've never had a budget passed before they got into the budget year that they were reading. It always ended up in March. They never got one completed in December. Never, ever in the 10 years that they've since 2013, and we invaded and liberated that country. Some may say they got them done, but then they just didn't put them into effect. That's bull. That's never happened. I've gone back. I've done all my research. I've looked at all the legislation years since they've been passing the budget, and they have not ever passed a budget in December of the year prior. Never. So we thought it was historical. So what happened is it ran over. They continued to meet in June and July. June and July. January and February, they ran their sessions. They had some breaks. They didn't work every day, but they did not stop their legislation sessions. So that's why they took a 35-day break starting in May and ended just last week in June. It's because they knew, and here's this is my theory on this, and it's pretty backed up between articles and this particular perimeter. This is in their Constitution, folks. I'm not just pulling it out of my hat. If you'd like to look at it, go to the law library where I posted it some time ago, and it's under the title, "This has been what has caused." Let's see. I'm sorry, that's not the title. I'm not finished with this part yet. Let me just go to the title since I've jumped ahead. This is under the thread called "House of Representatives Session of the Annual 2 Legislative Running for 8 months." And then in there, it'll have a link, a hyperlink that takes you to where this came from. But I wanted to post this particular part so we could go back and reference to it at any time, which I just did. So anyway, let me go back to where I left off here. I have to lose my place, which I do a lot of because there's so many intertwining things involved here. So this is why they took it. Also, why would they continue the legislation session when they weren't ready to get these bills passed, when they were still fighting? Let's back up a little more history, and I'll continue in a second. But then we had the problems of the demonstrators and the public, the political unrest. We had chaos going between the politicians, and then we had the citizens taking up demonstrations in the streets in the millions because of what happened to the finance minister, who was a Sunni, which was again the last straw of the Sunnis and a lot of the citizens, even the independents, because they got tired of, once again, the political unrest between the political parties and not getting anything done. So anyway, let's speed up, and we go to May. We go to the end of March, where they were able to get the border demarcations done on March 29th, 3 days early, which was a deadline. So we showed a lot of promise there. But still, we had demonstrators. Still, we had political unrest, all the way up until this month, which became the man of the month, which is Hakeem. Anyway, I'm stepping ahead a little bit. But so let's go back to this. So House of Representatives sessions starts, just to recap that one more time, I'm here anyway. March 1st through June 30th of each year, and then September 1st through December 1st through December 31st of each year. Those are the four 4-month sessions, adding up to the 8 months of their total legislative sessions. Secondly, no end of the budget, which we talked about, no end of the budget until into the session until if they committed on reading the budget. Thirdly, convene meetings of the council at least 2 days a week. At least 2 days a week. That's in the Constitution. So sometimes they work more than we think they are. We think they should work more. But what they do in between those times is they do their readings and they understand. So they get to these legislation sessions and they're prepared to vote. Remember when we used to say more things got done when Parliament was out of session than they were when they were in session? Well, this is what we see going on now, folks. We see them aligning laws up to get into that direction. We just went through a period of time where they weren't getting anything done out of session, in session. That's called political unrest. Political leaders of the parties dictate to the members of Parliament, the seated members, what they do, what they vote on. And when they don't have consensus, then they're not voting. So convene meetings of the council at least 2 days a week, and the presidency extended or identified as necessary. So the Speaker of the House, Najafi, has the ability to extend more meetings per week or extend the sessions, is what they're saying, if they identify them needing to be extended. And I've read where it's possible they could extend it this session, and we've seen them work in Ramadan before. Don't let anybody tell you that nothing gets done in Ramadan. Last year, there's a lot of things that got done in Ramadan. Just because we didn't see an RV or currency reform, just because somebody continues to say that every year and nothing gets done, listen, nobody has a crystal ball. I don't care if you're a certain mystical character or whatever. Anyway, y'all know where I'm going with that. I don't need to continue with that part. Anyway, don't let anybody tell you that Ramadan can't get things done, okay, during Ramadan. I remember last year, and I didn't bring my notes to back it up, that we had several things get done during Ramadan. No, we didn't see a revaluation, but, that doesn't make any sense either for somebody to make a comment like that when they don't know. When they've had people call me, that particular person called me before and asked me, point blank, what do I think, and what do I think is a trigger point? Come on. This is under a thread called, I already said that. Remember, I jumped for it. I'm going to say it again. Over in the law library, if you'd like to take a look at it, because what does Stryker do? He backs his statements up by facts. It's called the House of Representatives Session in the Annual 2 Legislation Running for 8 months. It's in our law library. Okay. And the budget was the cause of taking their vacation. I've already covered that. Jump forward, didn't I? They worked through January and February. I covered that in 35-day session. Listen, they let them go into 35. I'll tell you, I'll bet a few thousand dinars on this, that they let them go home because they knew there weren't going to be anything done. And they had a feeling there are meetings going on behind the back door, behind the doors, behind the scenes, that indicated, because we read some articles, that said that there was possibility for them to come to political consensus. This is even before Hakim, president of the Islamic Supreme Council, brought in the national meeting, by the way. National meeting. That was a national meeting. I don't care what anybody says. There's still people out there that says, oh, that wasn't a national meeting. Because there was one article that came out that says it could come to other national meetings that said, oh, that wasn't a national meeting. There's probably 10 articles that back that statement up. National meeting is what they've always been looking for to get the political problems resolved. And that's what's happening, period. Just because you can pull the news in doesn't mean you can decipher it very well. And I'm not talking about any of our news hounds. The guy that I'm talking about knows exactly who I'm pointing fingers at right now. In my opinion, they knew that they weren't going to get anything done during those 35 days, so they let them go. Also, I believe that they can extend it through Ramadan if they don't get everything done, but I got a feeling they're going to be doing this. Once again, on a couple of threads today, I posted Gamma Ray's whole poster he put together about the Stryker Brigade giving the award of the Man of the Month to Hakim. He still continues because there's a meeting today that went on at his office or palace or something, and he brought in royalties from all the different provinces, and there's still royal families, by the way, in the tribes throughout Iraq. And now he's not only did he bring the political people through to a national meeting, but now he's bringing all the royals in from all the tribals and getting them to look at and get their people to combat terrorism. Gamma Ray, we may need to be really getting an award, a crystal award, once we have an RV, and we'll send it to Hakim. And we'll invite him to the RVQ. There's no doubt about it. Somehow, we'll find a way to get an invite to him. And we'll find old Shabibi one of these days. He'll come surfacing up because he hadn't done anything wrong. So anyway, we saw articles about Hakim once again having historical meetings at his house, bringing all these people together to now combat. We were always wondering, who's going to stand up and glow? Who's going to be the saint? of Iraq. Who's going to pull these people together? He got it, Hakim. President of the Islamic Supreme Council. Like it a lot. Let's see. Now there is so much confusion over Sunday or Monday. Okay, here's some. Let's go back to Parliament for a minute. There's been some confusion today over Sunday and Monday. When are they meeting? Now there was articles that came out yesterday. They went from Saturday to Sunday. I believe they're still going to be meeting tomorrow, but today there's articles about Monday and agendas for Monday. There was an article, a confusing article. The article seemed to say that it will not have a quorum tomorrow, Sunday, would not have a quorum because of the holiday on Monday. But now several other articles say that there is an agenda for Monday. So what is it? Well, already we'll just wait to see. But until we get confirmation, complete confirmation, Sunday looks to be a session still. Now, it's funny, Gam and I talked about that article early this morning, and I broke it down to my best ability to understand that it looked like they were talking about, the first week session in this legislative term after the 35-day break meeting, and then they were going to go on holiday because the Monday was a holiday. It was very confusing. But then if you read it, and I broke it down, it looked like there was a second and a third week to this session left. And then I broke it down. I didn't have these dates in front of me. I thought it was the end of June when their regular session would have ended. So what they're really saying, they've got a week left in this session, which is next week. And then they got a week, the third week will carry over into after the session's supposed to be done. That's the best I could break that down. And it makes sense to me, even now. But then there was another article that he placed within that article, right in between the article I broke down in the other one, that said there would not be a quorum because of the Monday holiday. So it's very confusing. I believe there's a lot of investigative reporting going on over in Iraq. Not. There's a lot of confusion between these reporters, semi-called reporters, quote, quote, unquote. You can quote me on that. What needs to be done by Parliament now, okay? Let's talk about what needs to be done. They need to be voting on laws in several per day, okay? We saw them vote on 3 laws when they meet Tuesday, and they read 3 more. Then we saw them vote on several laws on Thursday and read several more. So we need this pattern to continue. Secondly, they need to be, that's what I said. Secondly they need to be reading these laws in every day. So first voting, second is reading the laws. Third, we need to see the cabinet and the committees preparing them in between the sessions like we have been. We've been watching these committees. Committees are meeting today. There's several committees meeting today. Gam and I, he brought that up to my attention in our chat today while we were going through the news. That there was a lot of activity, a lot of committee meetings going on, and that is good news for us, folks. Okay, some of the laws that they need to be passed. Accountability and justice with the Ba'athian Party included. They said they were going to get that lumped together completely and pushed together in one law. Everything still seems to be voting on that. Secondly, a few more investment laws need to be passed. Not many, but a few. I believe all the banking laws have been passed. Now, I could be wrong, but I think all those have been passed. Thirdly, oil and gas law. But as long as there is an agreement, which I'm pretty sure there's a written agreement, Barzani's visit coming up, probably in the next few days, or this week, coming week anyway, to Maliki will seal that deal up, I believe. It has, as long as the committee is involved in drafting the new laws, which are all kinds of signs that they're probably meeting today, that the new law is that this will be enough, I believe. It won't be a deal breaker for them. If in fact we are going to see, if folks, the program is, or the plan, not our plan, their plan. If their plan is to have currency reform soon now that's one thing the community does agree on. Okay, a lot of the gurus out there substantial gurus, that is, agree on, and even some of the other ones, they all believe that Chapter 7 is one of the most important things. Now, there are some people out there that say, it doesn't matter. They revalued before. Yes, they'll revalue little small increments. Yeah, that'll get us done. Folks, that's not what we're looking for. 4 peeps at a time, as some people would say, as the report to the general report, General Secretary's report to Congress in last year, August 31st, 2012, said on page 79, quote unquote, they gave a token for, wait a minute, let me back up, because of the stable exchange rate of the dinar compared to the market rate. That's a good indicator, folks. Those need to be parallel together. I made a comment on one today, and I broke it down. They reduced their exchange rate on the market rate from like 1320 to 13 to 250 to 1250 to now they think they're saying 1230. Well, that's only a 41 dinar when it was 141 or more dinar spread between the official rate and the market rate, causing a black market rate. And so they're a parallel rate. Well, even that report said because it was stable, you can't change a monetary system, folks. You can't change a complete framework of a monetary system and introduce a new exchange rate regime, which is the plans. And the only way we make a big bunch of money, folks, but what I call, or I express, is a windfall profit, which means an unexpected large profit that nobody expects. There's a lot of namesayers out there that says there's no way this is going to happen, but yet they have terminology for things like this, by the way. Windfall profit is what it's called. If, in fact, we're going to do this, this is what needs to happen. They can continue to move the exchange rate. It was originally 1477 to 1 back 10 years ago, by the way, not 3,000 or 4,000 to 1, 1477 to 1 to 1166. It's a good direction move. But folks, we'll be here for 30 more years before we make any decent profit. That's not the way it's going to work. They could have lopped the zeros a long time ago with not all these studies and all this stuff because countries did it. Countries did it. And they can do it within 6 months. They started doing it, boom. We've seen, there's probably been, since I've been in this investment, I've seen 2 or 3 countries that have redenominated their currency. Maybe more than that. I don't keep up with them all. But that's not what the plan is. They could have done that a long time ago, folks. So, Chapter 7, by the way, I don't want to talk too much about that. But Chapter 7, because there's plenty of articles, I'm going to read you for yourself. That comes up at the bottom of my deal right here. It says what's going on there. That's when the official vote is on the 27th. But that's when they get their money. There's articles out there today that says that their real sovereignty, and I've been saying this for a long time now, articles are starting to say full sovereignty is gained, protection of their wealth is gained again, and I'll say it one more time. Sanctions are what caused the zeros to go on. Sanctions, release of sanctions will give their wealth back. Saddam was the reason for a lot of that. He's gone, folks. He's been gone for 10 years. They have proved to the international community via the UN in the United States and the UK that they deserve to be out of Chapter 7. Now, people say they don't deserve it. They still got political unrest. They still got demonstrators in the street. They still got terrorism going on. They still got bombs going on in the streets almost daily. Okay, granted, those things need to be taken care of. That's where Hakeem's coming in, and that's why we vote him the man of the month. Right, Gavin? And you need to get your Skype going. Of course, I need to get my computer back so I can have company again on my show. But, okay, so let's look at all those factors. They're all starting to add up. The things are happening. Committee drafts, as long as I think the committees are drafting the oil and gas, we're in great shape. And they can be satisfied as long as the demonstrators and their demands are satisfied by the way of the accountability, justice, and the Bathian parties included. That will take care of that. Okay, what's needed from the parties? We need them to vote yes to all the above. But to do this, we need to understand why they are so willing to get along. Okay, so folks, that's a handful of laws that we're waiting on now. Really, and oil and gas being the most important one on top of all of them. But I believe that can be worked out. That's the long-term one. That's the remaining of verbal that has been the biggest controversy. These other things, we see them getting done. We see them giving land to the poor people, which is part of Article 140. We see them distributing money to the Iraqis that have been displaced during the demarcations. That's all part of taking care of their people, the poor, and bringing them up. Kurdistan Alliance, there is a conviction of the need to pass important laws. That's an article. Let me go to this part, see if I can do this without putting my specs on and without losing you guys. I hope I haven't lost you guys. There we go. That is the gentleman that's in this article. And I thought this was very interesting. All right, let me read it again. Kurdistan Alliance. There is a conviction of the need to pass important laws. Baghdad, center brief for the Iraqi media network, IMN, one of the best sources that we look at, by the way, said that the Kurdistan Alliance bloc in the House of Representatives Saturday, that'd be today, that there is a conviction among the political blocs need to pass a number of important laws during the coming period, this period right now, which requires political consensus on them. The head of the head of the bloc, Fad Ashams, I believe that's right, Fad Ashams, IMN, that our coming period will witness a series of meetings between the political leaders as well as the presidency of the Council of Representatives, which is Najafi, okay? And the heads of the political, and they're not talking about the Kurdistan Parliament, folks. You're talking about the federal Parliament. And the heads of the blocs in order to agree on passing some important laws, including the laws of the Federation, Council, and the parties, and the criminalization of the Ba'ath, which is included in they're trying to basket it all in one and get it passed, because that's the only way they can get it passed, they said, with the accountability and justice, okay? Criminalization of the Ba'ath, as well as a modify the elections and legal accountability of justice, which I just talked about. He added that everyone is aware that these laws are necessary for the next stage before the end of the parliamentary session current, before this one ends. Especially that some of, this is important, them linked to the upcoming elections. So that's the motivation in itself for these political people. Now I got to thinking, yes, out of 325 people, there's people that get sick that they can't show up for a political deal, and there's people that, might have got into an accident, probably had a few die, to tell you the truth, since this parliament was elected. And probably assassinated and murdered. We've heard and read about some of those. So, it's, some of these numbers may not be out of realm, to tell you the truth. Matter of fact, when they even publish the people, Najafi says, if you don't show up, I'm going to publish your name within the Parliament website, they're not that many, folks. There's not probably 20 or 25. So we may be getting a good turnout and not knowing it. So anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in there. Such as the current elections laws. So anyway, let me back up. So especially that some, they're talking about why they should get this stuff done, especially that some of them linked to the upcoming elections. By the way, I bumped this up right before show on the front page of the Dinar Daily News inside the Stryker team forum, inside StrykerBlog.com, okay? Such as a current election law, because they've got new election laws that are coming into effect, in the law of the Federation Council, stressing that not necessarily pass these laws in a manner of basketball one. I have no clue. That's what it reads. Did they watch the NBA championship? Maybe so. I don't know. Basketball one. Sounds like they're bouncing things around a lot. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But there is a sense of the importance. I'm not making this up. This is in there. In a sense of importance to get consensus about it. Whew. That's pretty telling. There wasn't one comment, including my own, until I read this on my phone. in between doing yard work and cleaning the pool, playing with my son in the pool, and getting ready for this show. I read this, and that is pretty powerful, folks. That's telling us that new elections are coming up. There's a consensus to get things done. The Kurdistan Bloc, this is a guy that's ahead of the Kurdistan Alliance, saying there's a consensus between all the blocs to get things done. There's no negative going on here. I haven't heard anything negative really about Alawi in a while. The Iraqi list is positive, the National Alliance is positive, and the Kurdistan Alliance is positive. All they have to do is get these committees, and they've agreed to get them done and working. Anyway, it's exciting. It's something else. That's it. That's all I got for today, folks. We are down to a handful of laws. We have everyone working together. Even today, as many articles, including that one, is saying that. As long as these laws are ready, it looks like the parties are too. Parties are the driving force behind the seated parliament members. As long as the political blocs are in agreement, the parties are in agreement. The blocs are in agreement. The parliament seated members are in agreement. They look to have 2 more weeks of parliament sessions with the speaker's option to extend if needed. You know, I think we're in great shape now. I think I don't know. I just continue to go, can you write a better script than this? I don't think so. Folks, go enjoy your weekend. The news is right here. We're going to stay on top of it. We'll be up early tomorrow. I speak for Grant Gamma Ray because I know he will. We had a chat about that this morning. Stay positive. As you can tell, there's still people out there saying it was revaluing last week and they're cashing on Monday. That's not the agenda at this point. But I tell you, you just can't get better news than this, and it's all in the news. It's all in the news. It's all good. The facts can dictate the progress, and they are. You guys enjoy your weekend. Any questions? I know there's a few requests on topics. I'll get to those first of the week. And there's a lot of people emailing about the memorial, the celebration of life for our good friend, and we miss him so dearly, Southwest Florida guy. Pastor Doug and I were going to talk yesterday. It's my fault. I got real busy. I decided to take the evening and afternoon to do some things for my boy that's out of school, and I did. I spent a quality time with my boy, and so I didn't have the chance to even talk to Pastor Doug, but his last message to me yesterday was he was doing final editing, and he should have it out today. I will send out, and I will plaster it everywhere where you can look. It's going to be, matter of fact, I'm going to make we'll get it to you. We'll get the people that have emailed me at info@strykerblock.com. You will get notified real quick. There's some friends of the family that will get notified, and the family will get notified as soon as we have it up. But we're not going to put it up until it's perfect this time because of our technical problems last Saturday. Anyway, we're on top of it. We'll stay on top of it for you. Thank you, all your new members. Thanks for all the good, great comments, participation on the forum, and the great emails. Now, folks, go out, have a fun day today. Pop in when you can over to the forum. We'll be there on and off, me and myself. So anyway, God bless. See you later.